In today's lecture, we are discussing about the tuberculosis with HIV infection and with the associated diabetes. These three diseases have coordination in such a way that if any disease is present, the progress of the other disease is fast. So, in the treatment of the tuberculosis, we should rule out the HIV infection and diabetes. If they are present, there should be a proper treatment of both disease. After this, we can get the good result in the treatment of the tuberculosis in the developing country such as India. Almost 40% of the population has TB infection, that is detected by the Mantoux test. If the Mantoux test is positive, means the person is infected with the Mycobacterium tuberculosis, but TT positive doesn't say the patient may have active tuberculosis. In non-HIV infected growth, if the patient is infected with the Mycobacterium, there is a 10% lifetime risk of the getting active disease. TB is one of the earliest opportunistic disease to develop among the HIV infection. In the HIV infection, the immunity of the person decline, so the opportunistic infection is more. TB is one of the commonest opportunistic infection in the immunosuppressed state, particularly in the HIV infected. Now the patient get TB infection in the HIV positive patient. The risk of the developing active disease is greater than non-HIV infected. It is 6 times higher rate to develop active disease among the HIV positive patient compared to non-HIV. So, when the person is infected with TB HIV, once develop active disease in 60% of the infected with HIV. Now the TB is one of the commonest infection HIV positive patient. In the early stage of the HIV, means the immunocompromised state and immunocompromised state. In this type of patient with general patient means having no HIV infection, the chances of the TB presentation is pulmonary type in the both group, early stage of the HIV infection and non-HIV infection. The incidence of the HIV increased by the non-accepted social activity, so, means sexual contact more than one partner, drug abuse, they have more chances to get HIV infection. Now the recurrent pulmonary tuberculosis and extrapulmonary tuberculosis increase with HIV infection. Now the mode of HIV transmission. The commonest route of the HIV transmission is sexual contact with HIV infected partner. If the mother is HIV positive, it gives the HIV infection to the newborn in the intrauterine period during the delivery and during the breastfeeding. Third is the blood-borne route during the blood transfusion. If the getting the blood transfusion from the HIV infected person, the chances of the HIV infection is highest. Second, injecting drug abuse, and third is occupational exposure. Mostly in the person working in the laboratory, they have greater chances of HIV infection. The chances of the needle stick injury is common at the laboratory site. Exposure route is the blood transfusion. The chances of getting HIV infection is more than 90%, but the contribution of this blood transfusion cases is only 3%. The route is perinatal. The chances of the HIV infection is 20 to 40%, but its contribution is nearly 3%. The majority percent of HIV case are route of transmission is sexual route. One is a vaginal route and second is a anal route. The contribution is more than 80%, means the greater part of HIV transmission is done by the sexual route. Now at the laboratory level, means the injecting needle stick injury is less than 0.5%, and patient getting drug by injection, they have greater chance compared with the laboratory person. It is less than 1%, but the total contribution of injecting drug user and needle stick injury is 3% and other is 7%. Means the contribution of the HIV case is due to the sexual route. The maximum transmission is done by the sexual route. During this, we should see the viral load. If the viral load is high, the transmission of is more. Presence of the sexually transmitted infection at the time of contact, behavior issue such as use of the condom, multiple sexual partner, stage of the HIV infection, and man-to-man sex. In few cases, the transmission of HIV infection from mother to child is also present, but it mostly occurs in the third trimester of pregnancy. So we can see whether child is infected in utero period or during the delivery or labor period or during the breastfeeding. If HIV test from newborn within 48 hours by the HIV RNA, then we can say child got infection in utero period. After 48 hours and no breastfeeding, HIV test of newborn is positive after 1 week but before 90 days. Consider getting infection during the delivery or intrapartum route. Now the HIV infection during the breastfeeding. When the newborn gives the HIV positive report after 4 to 6 months of birth, then we can say this is due to the breastfeeding period. More than 2/3 patient getting infected with HIV is occurred during the perinatal period. After getting first time HIV infection, acute HIV infection is called primary HIV infection or acute seroconversion syndrome. Time from exposure to the onset of the initial symptom is 2 to 4 weeks. Symptom appears as flu, general body ache, running nose, headache. So, treating physician doesn't consider HIV infection in the person, and symptom is also non-specific, so it guide for the another cause. Standard serological tests at this stage are usually negative, so early HIV infection is difficult to detect in the early stage. By E positive after 1 month to 3 months after infection. HIV infection is detected in about 95% patient within 6 months of infection. So we should do the HIV testing within 6 months to diagnose HIV infection. Now the latent period from HIV infection to onset of the HIV related disease and AIDS is long and variable in adult. HIV infected patient remain asymptomatic period for nearly 10 years or more. The majority of the HIV infected children are infected in the perinatal period. One HIV infection asymptomatic. Sometimes this type of patient may have generalized lymphadenopathy. It is persistent generalized lymphadenopathy. Involvement of at least 2 side lymph node other than inguinal group. The size of the enlarged lymph node is greater than 1.5 centimeter and it should be present for more than 3 months. It is bilateral, symmetrical, non-tender. 1/3 patient of HIV infected develop persistent generalized lymphadenopathy. They have no other symptom except PGL. When the generalized enlargement of the lymph node, they are major reservoir for the HIV infection. Now, when the HIV infection is present, then effect of the HIV on the TB. The patient get the TB infection in HIV infected person. The risk of the developing TB disease is higher in HIV infected. Lifetime risk of developing TB is 60% in the infected with both TB and HIV. If the person is co-infected with a TB and HIV, the 60% chances of getting active TB in the lifetime. The rate of disease progress is high. Now the effect of the TB disease on HIV infection. TB infection increases the risk of other opportunistic infection. TB and HIV infection decline the immunity, so the opportunistic infection is common, and TB increase the rate of progress from HIV infection to the AIDS syndrome. TB shortens the lifespan of the HIV infected patient. TB is the common cause of death in AIDS patient. So, when the patient has HIV and develop TB is the cause of death in them. Usually, opportunistic infection may occur when the CD4 count goes below 200 mm³. Now, TB may occur at any level of CD4 count. Now, the clinical presentation of the TB depends on the state of the immunosuppression. Clinical presentation is same in the both HIV infected and without HIV infection, early stage of immunosuppression. Pulmonary lesion is the commonest with pulmonary infiltrate and cavity formation in the both non-HIV person and early stage of HIV infected person. In the late stage of the immunosuppression, means the advanced stage of the HIV infection, the clinical presentation of the TB is atypical. There is a greater chances of the extrapulmonary presentation. In the late stage of HIV positive case, initial presentation is extrapulmonary, such as cervical node enlargement. Now, in the late stage of HIV infection, if the patient develops pulmonary TB, it is diffuse, involving mostly lower lobe without cavity formation and associated with the mediastinal and paratracheal node involvement. The progress of disease is fast. Sputum AFB is mostly negative as there is no cavity formation. Even in the extensive lesion, tuberculin test is also negative. Pleural effusion is also common, and hematogenous spread is also common, leading to the TB meningitis and miliary tuberculosis. Now, in the case of the extrapulmonary presentation, mostly it involves cervical lymph node group. It is unilateral, rapidly growing. It is tender, non-matted, not associated with the local infection, and not associated with constitutional symptom suggestive of tuberculosis. So, treating physician suspect in enlarged lymph node of short duration pyogenic lymph adenitis. They treat with broad spectrum antibiotic without doing investigation for TB etiology means that it delay the diagnosis. We should suspect HIV infection when there is a generalized lymphadenopathy with oral candidiasis, diarrhea more than 1 month, that is not responding to the routine anti-diarrheal treatment, fever more than 1 month, and weight loss more than 10% of baseline, and presence of the TB, then you can suspect patient may have HIV infection. Nearly all HIV infected people, if untreated, will develop HIV related disease and AIDS. Now the progress from HIV infection to the AIDS is variable, but progress is fast in the children less than 5 years and adult more than 40 years. When the immunity decline with the progress of the HIV disease, when the immunity go down, patient become more susceptible to the infection, get the opportunistic infection, that is normal population it not able to cause disease. So the opportunistic infection is common in HIV infected person. To trace HIV infection to the progress up to the AIDS by the CD4 count in the blood. Normal CD4 count is 700 to 1300 millimeter of cube. Average annually decrease in CD4 count in HIV is 40 to 80 per year. The majority don't develop symptom until CD4 count is below 300. Means when the patient is having HIV infection in CD4 count is good, patient have no other opportunistic infection. When the CD4 count decline, chances of the opportunistic infection is more. CD4 count is below 200 is diagnostic for AIDS. Spectrum of the opportunistic infection, when the CD4 count below 500 millimeter cube, opportunistic infection start to develop. TB is the commonest opportunistic infection. It occurs at any level of CD4 count. When the CD4 count between the 200 to 500, oral and esophageal candidiasis infection. Oral and esophageal candidiasis is second commonest opportunistic infection in HIV positive person. When the CD4 count below 200, the infection with the pneumocystis jirovecii organism. When the CD4 count below 100, the infection by the Mycobacterium avium complex, parasites such as Toxoplasmosis, cytomegalovirus retinitis develop blindness and cryptococcal meningitis and malignancy. One is a non-Hodgkin, and Kaposi sarcoma is common when the CD4 count below 100. AIDS. The HIV test is positive CD4 count is less than 200 and any one of following condition with CD4 count less than 200 and HIV positive, we can say patient is having AIDS. Significant weight loss more than 10% of the baseline body weight. Extensive tuberculosis, pulmonary or extrapulmonary, neurological impairment preventing the daily activity, oral candidiasis and also esophageal candidiasis, life-threatening pneumonia, malignancy, Kaposi sarcoma, cryptococcal meningitis, cerebral toxoplasmosis, cytomegalovirus retinitis, and recurrent herpes zoster. Means patient is having AIDS. Now the occupational, the chances of the HIV infection is also higher at the personnel working at the laboratory, mostly by the needle, stick and cut injury. During this, don't be panic. If injury site wash with the water and soap, don't put prick finger in mouth. If the fluid get in the nose or mouth, it should be splashed with the plenty of water. Eye are irrigated with the normal saline or clean water. If needle injury done and suspect HIV infection, then we should advise post-exposure prophylaxis should be given as early as possible within 2 hours, but it should be taken up to the 72 hours. After 72 hours, the role of post-exposure prophylaxis is practically nil. Now the post-exposure prophylaxis is given in 1 tablet of tenofovir plus lamivudine plus 2 tablets of lopinavir 200 mg plus ritonavir 50 mg in FDC form, or if lopinavir is not available, we can add efavirenz. So we should give 3 drugs: tenofovir, lamivudine and efavirenz. Duration is for 1 month. If suspect exposure to the HIV at the laboratory level, we advise as early as possible post-exposure chemoprophylaxis and do the testing for HIV infection. First is at taking medication. Second, if it is negative, repeat between the 2 to 4 weeks. If negative, at the end of 6 weeks. If negative, at the end of 12 weeks and at the end of 24 weeks. If they are negative, means the laboratory technician doesn't get HIV infection. Now the treatment of the TB-HIV co-infection. We should give the treatment for the tuberculosis, treatment of the HIV infection, and third, treatment for other opportunistic infection. So, TB HIV co-infection present, we should start anti-TB treatment first. After 2 weeks, but before 2 months of initiation of AKT, we should add antiretroviral therapy, tenofovir, lamivudine and efavirenz. In the severe case, if the ART and AKT are essential at the same time, we can add both at same time. But commonly, we should start with the AKT first, then later ART after 2 weeks. For the treatment of the opportunistic infection, cotrimoxazole is given. So we should treat the TB patient with HIV infected. The treatment of the HIV infection is lifelong. Thank you.